Bonjour à toutes, bonjour à tous. Je suis très heureux de vous partager la discussion que j'ai eue avec Alison Sauer et Juliet English. Ces deux femmes sont engagées en Grande-Bretagne pour la promotion de la liberté éducative, de l'éducation alternative. Elles m'ont témoigné qu'il y a à peu près 100 000 personnes qui sont inscrites à l'éducation à la maison en Grande-Bretagne et d'autres qui sont inscrites dans des écoles alternatives. Et elles aident à la fois les parents, les éducateurs par des témoignages, des bonnes pratiques, mais aussi au niveau politique. Elles transmettent des preuves scientifiques, des preuves académiques. Et donc dans cette discussion, elles nous partagent tout le fruit de leur travail. Vous pourrez vous en inspirer pour vous aussi, chez vous, marcher votre liberté éducative. Réenchantons nos cœurs, réenchantons la terre. Hello.
Hi.
Alison and Juliet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to have you here today.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we're glad to speak with you this morning. And my first question will be, so we are in Paris in this summit about freedom of education.
Mm-hmm.
What is your vision of education now? Is freedom of education, or what you wish for education?
I'd like the opportunities for education to be as diverse as possible in order to meet the individual needs of every child, so that we are providing an education that's suitable for every individual child, rather than the one-size-fits-all that states seem to offer all the time, that just is not very adequate. Also, the advantage of doing alternatives in education is that children are not just mixing with their own age group, and they actually become better human beings because they develop social skills that you cannot develop in a classroom with children that are just your age. So that's where the bullying comes from and all the rest of it. So it would solve many, many problems if we had this diversity and the flexibility, because post-COVID, we all need more flexible human beings who are more innovative, and you need flexible and innovative education in order to promote that.
Yeah, I agree with Alison on a lot of that, but for me, I feel like education needs to take into account the whole child. It can't just be about academics, because all of life is learning. I think those options that a child has the choice to go somewhere that works for them, but that takes the whole child into account, because you can have the academics, but if you don't have the character, if you don't have the grit and the resilience, or you don't have compassion, then what are those academics worth? If you don't have the life skills, if you don't have, there's so much more to, it's not about education, it's about how we learn, how we grow as people. And particularly in the early years, I think there's too much focus on trying to get children reading and writing instead of actually having a childhood, because that childhood period with lots of play, that is what a child is meant to do. That is their work, is play, and they learn so much through play that it can't be measured.
But it's play and love, isn't it? They've got to
in
be
a stable, consistent, caring environment.
Exactly.
Yes,
and if we are sending our children from the age of 6 months into institutions to be cared for, with strangers, where's the love, where's the care? I understand that that's important for some families, because some families have to work, but we should be supporting families to be families.
And to have choices around where your children go. And I think the more the governments try and restrict those choices, the more harm we're doing to children.
In the UK, you are engaged in organizations which support family to choose what kind of education they want, community to support each other for the raising of the
We
child.
belong to and organise many different organisations. Juliet and I cross over in a small area of our professional lives. So I'm the chair of the Centre for Personalised Education, and we support and promote academic research and workshops and conferences and things like that to do with any alternative to what we would call mainstream education, which is private or public education in a school. So we support democratic education, Sudbury schools, all of those things, as well as home education. And we're also in an alliance.
Yeah, we work together on a national level to try and promote more freedom and to resist any efforts to restrict that freedom. One of the things I tend to focus very much on parents, on empowering and equipping and encouraging parents, because if the parents are empowered and confident, you're going to have empowered and confident children. So that's where I work. So I run a conference every year for home educating parents, where we really just want to see the parent who comes in and they're unsure of themselves and they're a little insecure, not sure what they're doing, and when they're done, when they leave, they're like, yeah, I can do this. I've got this. And they feel confident to do that, and to be bold, to be confident, bold, and project that, because then their children pick that up.
Yes.
An insecure parent makes for an insecure child. So I really just love to work with the parents on building them up as much as I can.
Yeah, it's a wonderful conference, and I've spoken at it for the last 2 years. And I know people speak very highly of it. It's called Learn Free.
Learn Free, and it's giving information, giving advice, we have mostly home educating parents sharing from their own experience to empower other home educating parents.
Testimonies are very important.
Stories. We call them stories, yes.
Not alone. Yourself, you have your own stories, no?
Yes.
You had also
Yes.
a
Very
home
powerful.
education journey with that.
Yeah. That's very
So Juliet works at the ground level with the people who are home educating, and I work at the policy level and the academic level with the research and with the politics. So I talk to people in Westminster and places like that all the time.
Yeah.
So we kind of form a whole together. This is why we have an alliance.
complement each other.
We complement each other, but we both have been home educators. Well, I'm no longer a home educator, but I started home educating in 1999.
Yeah.
But my children are grown up now.
Yeah, I've been home educating 24 years.
But she has more children.
I have 7 children, and my youngest is 16. He's the only one who's still at home pursuing he actually pursues his own education. I always say, you educate yourself. I can't educate you. You have to educate yourself. Nobody can put information in your head.
Yeah, we have a unique position in the UK, really. We've got a lot more freedom in the UK still, although we complain. But they cannot dictate a curriculum to us. If you are in Italy, for example, you have to follow a curriculum that is set by the government. France as well. Many places you have to
restrictions.
You are benchmarked against what happens in school. For us, we have
radical unschoolers.
Yes, we have radical unschoolers, which looks nothing like school.
And then we have all the way through to those who follow more structured approach.
Yes.
But the government can't tell you how to educate your
child. Yes, they can't say your child must be able to read by the time they are 10, for example. They try.
They try.
But we don't let them.
Because, you're recognising that every child is unique, and what is amazing is when you look at these children who are unschooled, they've never been to school, their parents might follow no form of school, but how they still go on to become self-supporting, helpful members of the community.
Yes.
Doing something that they love and knowing how to read and write, just without having to force everything through this curriculum that the government wants. So we are fortunate in the UK that we can actually experiment in that way, and parents are actually at the cutting edge of understanding learning and how learning happens for so many different kinds of children, because every single family is different, every child is different, special educational needs, all of these things, and we are having, as parents, you're adapting. So we have a wealth of knowledge and experience within that community of home educators.
In UK, it's a big community. How much persons are home educated or in private?
Around 85,000 in England.
That we know of.
So the approximation is probably in all 4 kingdoms, because Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland are quite small. So we think there are around 100,000. There are very few. Those are the people that the local government, the local councils know about.
Yeah.
When I started home educating in 1999, 2/3 of the people being home educated were not known by authorities at all. but now it's a very tiny 5 or less %.
And what are the opportunities for this big community of homeschooling in the near future to gather more, to share knowledge?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of that already. So we, as I said, I have obviously a conference once a year, but then we have a lot of thriving speakers and bloggers and all sorts of, just sharing their knowledge. Recently, I was in a project where we collaborated on a book, which is called Another Way to Learn. And it was 11 people writing, each one writing a different chapter on home education, different aspects. So that's just recently been released.
And I think also having this research with the university, or so the importance of playing, of freedom of learning, also impact or give some knowledge for the government, for the decision making, or for the parents.
If they would listen to us.
Yes,
but they're not really interested in the research that doesn't back up what they think.
They have a policy. They are very blinkered, and to get them to listen to the actual evidence. We've just heard this morning from France, where the politicians were persuaded to vote on a law that outlawed home education in France, and were not told the correct evidence, and they were lied to, basically. And the same is happening in England. The politicians are being lied to.
It's based on rumour.
Yes.
So they don't have facts. They think that home education is causing this problem or that problem, but there's no proof. So they want to,
and we can prove the opposite.
Yes. When you have 100,000 children doing that, or person doing that, it's a huge amount, and you can also prove that there's other evidence.
Well, the thing is the research that Alison and some of our other colleagues have done shows that the rumours that they're saying that they're not true, but they don't want to see it. So we try and give them the research. They they don't look at it. They will still say, we still think there should be a register, we still think.
But we are just about to publish some really strong research about safeguarding, about the safety of children who are home educated, and they claim that, they are unsafe, and we have evidence to prove absolutely the opposite. And in fact, they are less safe in school than they are at home with their parents.
Thirdly, yes.
Yes, true.
One last thing, if you wish one thing for the new parents starting home education or this journey, what will it be?
I think everything will be all right. Yeah. It will be all right. There's nothing to worry about. We have a saying, jump on in, like in the river, jump in, the water is fine. And to me, that is what it's a wonderful journey. It's an exciting journey. It's all about family, and it changes your lifestyle. And I wouldn't do it any other way now, and there's nothing to fear.
Yes, and you will have a closeness with your children that you would not otherwise have. And don't be afraid to ask questions. No question is stupid. There are no stupid questions. If you started something, exactly. Trust yourself, trust your instincts. And if somebody is making you not believe in yourself and your ability to home educate, come and talk to people like us, and we will help to reassure you. One of my friends who used to be a campaigner said that home education was a little bit like a swan swimming. It looks so serene, but if you look under the surface occasionally, the legs are going like that, and it's very peaceful, interspersed with the odd moment of absolute blind panic.
But it's doing life with your children.
It is. It's doing life,
and like my relationship with my children is so different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
You begin to see them as people. It's not just like, I'm mum and you're the children and, you must do what I say. It changes the respect and the trust, and, that all changes in that space, because you can actually be free to be yourselves. And, I think people mustn't try too hard, don't feel like you've got to live up to the expectations of anyone. Just trust your instincts on that, I do a lot of reading.
And talking.
On learning.
Reading,
and talking.
Trusting.
Yes.
This is the word.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do and for bringing this
You're welcome,
testimony.
yeah.
You are welcome.
Yeah.